Hi, this is Sue Jackson of the Book by Book blog, and I'm here with another Friday Reads. As has been the case since the end of May, I am deeply immersed in the Big Book Summer Challenge. That's a reading challenge that I host myself every year. This is its 11th year. The idea is simply to read bigger books during the summer when presumably you either have more time or you're on vacation. Things tend to be a little easier going in the summer. Although if it's winter where you are, you're welcome to join in as well. We've got several folks from down under that also enjoy the Big Book Summer Challenge. A big book for the challenge is any book of 400 or more pages, any type, any genre, it all counts. And you set your own goals. Whether you choose one big book to tackle between the end of May and the beginning of September, or two or three, or like I do, a whole stack, it's up to you. So I have been reading big books all summer long. I have read some amazing books so far, and I am currently completely immersed in The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. So I like to include one classic every year for Big Book Summer, and I chose this one this year because I have read it before. This is a reread, but my first reading of it was in 10th grade in high school, a very long time ago. To give you a hint, I just heard that our 40th year high school reunion is happening this fall. So yeah, it's been 42 years since I've read The Grapes of Wrath. We tended to read a fair amount of John Steinbeck in high school, and I remembered that I really liked the book. And I remembered everyone knows what The Grapes of Wrath is about. I knew it was about a family migrating from Oklahoma to California during the Dust Bowl. I didn't remember a whole lot else. And as you can see, I'm just tearing through this because it is so good. I mean, obviously, it's a classic. I expected it to be good, but it's a gripping story. The characters are so well developed. You feel like you are right in there with this family, making this huge decision to leave their home and everything they have and drive to California. And honestly, they really don't have much choice about it. They were sharecroppers in Oklahoma and their land was taken over. The owners kicked them off their land. And Steinbeck does something really clever with this book. It is the story of the Joad family, this one particular family. And you get in deep with this family. You really get to know the different family members and their history. But in between chapters about the family, Steinbeck inserts some chapters that are told from a broader perspective, that use a plural pronoun like we. Like the one about, the first one you encounter is the sharecroppers getting kicked off their land by the owners. That one, you understand what's happening by this one short chapter about all the sharecroppers and all the owners and what's happening all over this region to not just the Joads, but all kinds of families who live in this area and are being kicked off their land, or what should become their land soon. It's a brilliant way to write historical fiction because you're zeroing in on this one family, but also getting the bigger picture as well. And he does that throughout the book. Occasionally, he'll drop in a chapter that is more general and tells you about all the vehicles on the road heading west on Route 66, or something similar. I'm just loving this book. Yes, it's beautifully written, but it's also just completely engrossing. It's a great story. I knew the basic outline of the history, but the details are just stunning. And I keep wanting to tell my husband about the book, to read passages to him, to tell him what's happening. And I've done a little bit of that, but I'm trying not to because I keep telling him, you have to read this book. You're going to love it. For starters, my husband's from Oklahoma, so this hits kind of close to home. Though his parents moved to Oklahoma in the 40s, so well past this era, but, you know, it's still his home state. Excellent book. Highly recommend this. And it's not that long if you're looking for a big book to still fit in before the end of the summer. It's about 450 pages and just completely engrossing. The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. And then I've got 2 big books on audio going at the same time. I normally just do 1 book in print, 1 on audio. But between last weekend and this coming weekend, my husband and I have quite a bit of time in the car. So I chose a big book for myself on audio that I've already started, and also one for us to listen to together, which we started this past weekend. So the audiobook that we're listening to together is First Cut by Judy Melinek and TJ Mitchell. This is book 1 in a mystery thriller series about a medical examiner named Jesse Teska. And because I've got quite a backlog in audiobooks, this isn't new. This came out in 2020, so I don't know if there are other books by now. From the prologue, you get the idea that someone that she knows showed up on her table. So this is really through her. And she left her job, which was in LA, as the LA County medical examiner. And after a few months goes by, she takes a new job in San Francisco where her brother lives. So where this novel starts is with Jessie just moving to San Francisco, her first day on the job with the San Francisco ME's department. She pretty quickly, she's seeing some opioid overdose cases, which she also saw back in LA. She's also pulled right in almost immediately to a homicide, probably gang-related, with multiple bullets involved. So that's about as far as we are right now. We started it last weekend, which was a short drive. We were camping about 3 hours from home, and I have to take a nap in the afternoon on the way. So we didn't get too far into it yet. But this weekend, we are driving to my hometown, Rochester, New York, for a family wedding. And that's a 7-hour drive each way. So we'll have plenty of time to really get immersed in this, but we're liking it already. The other audiobook I've started is also a big book. This one is for me, and it is called The Secrets Between Us by Thridi Umrigar. This is a sequel to The Space Between Us by the same author. I read that for my book group many years ago, really loved it. Everyone in book group loved it. If you still haven't read The Space Between Us by Thridi Umrigar, I highly recommend it. And it seems so far that The Secrets Between Us picks right up where the Space Between Us left off. So I'm not going to tell you too much about that because that would spoil the first book. But the focus in this second book is on Bhima, who in the first book was working as a servant to an upper class family. And that book focused in very much on the class struggle in India, the differences between the classes, how Bhima as a lower class person was treated, even in this family she had worked for decades. She helped raise their daughter, who she's very close to. She was still treated as like a second-class citizen. Well, not even second class, like third or fourth class. She shared tea every day with Sarah, who was the woman she worked for. But Sarah sat at the table with a china teacup Well, Bhima crouched on the ground nearby with her own little aluminum cup or glass cup that that no one else used. This is the kind of thing that was going on. So in this second book, we're picking up there. All I will say is that Bhima is no longer working for that family. She is supporting her granddaughter, and she really wants her granddaughter to have a better life. She and her granddaughter live in the slums. Her granddaughter's a young woman now. She wants her to go to college, to graduate, to get a good job, and to be able to move out of the slums and move up in life. So this book is focusing in more on Bhima, whereas the first book, well, it was about the relationship between the two women. But here we are focused on Bhima. And there are some new characters being introduced as well. So that is The Secrets Between Us by Thridi Amrigar, a sequel to The Space Between Us, which I very much enjoyed. And I'm not too far into The Secrets Between Us yet, but I can tell you it pulled me right in. It is already just a really great story that has sucked me right in. So I very much am enjoying The Secrets Between Us by Thridi Amrigar. So that's what I'm reading. Unfortunately, there'll be some audiobook time this weekend. Not a whole lot of time to read more on The Grapes of Wrath because we'll be in the car a lot. I really can't read in the car. That's why we do audiobooks. And while we're there, we're going to be very busy going to the wedding. But that's what I'm reading right now. I would love to hear what you're reading this weekend. Let me know in the comments down below.